If you have 5 reviews and they're all 5-star, you could say, okay, maybe, but because it's only 5 different business, maybe 5 customers. But you're right. If it's 900, like somebody is going to feel not 5 stars about you necessarily. Vitaly, good to have you here with me today. I would love to get to know more about you, your background, how you got into your business right now, specifically because I know this relates to me too, is when you worked on the corporate side while you were trying to get your business off the ground. Start there and kind of talk through about, how you got interested in wanting to build this business.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me here. Yeah, so I think I got started right after university. I actually never finished. I did 3 years in mechanical engineering and dropped out right after. My background is more technical. I self-taught myself how to build websites, later on some basic web development, like when I was in high school.
Mhm.
And after university, I was still living with my dad. And he's like, well, if you're not going to go back to school, then maybe try finding a job. So I decided to see if I can find an actual job with the skills I kind of learned on my own. And I got into digital marketing firm, which I worked for close to 9 years. Yeah, I always loved building stuff. I still worked with some local businesses on the side, helping them with their websites. And I always wanted to build my own company one day,
Mhm.
whether it's software or some sort of business where I was in charge of my schedule, of setting my own hours and being kind of location independent, being able to work from anywhere I want. And there's been many different projects and websites and ideas over the years that I tried. And I'd say very few of them have ever turned into anything successful. Moreover, one thing I realized later on was that the part I really enjoyed doing was building stuff. I would get excited about a new idea. I would start building it for like weekends and evenings. When it was time to launch it, market it, talk to potential customers about it, is when I would start losing interest, which is kind of not really a way to grow a business or make anything successful. So after many failed attempts such as those, I got another idea while trying to help a friend who ran a local business. She had tons of great 5-star Google reviews. And in my mind, if only there was a way to bring some of those reviews onto our company's website, more people would read those reviews. And I had no doubt in my mind it will help her get so many more leads and customers directly from the website. Once I started researching, kind of like, okay, how do you do that? To my surprise, there weren't many easy ways to make that happen. There may have been one or two software at the time. That was back in 2017,
Mhm.
but they were either very complicated or expensive for a local business for such a simple thing to just showcasing some of your Google reviews onto your
Yeah.
website.
And there weren't really any WordPress plugins that worked really well for that either, right?
Not at the time.
Mhm.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, so one thing that gave me more confidence to go ahead with this idea was there were quite a few blog posts and forums where people asked how to do that. And some of the ways that were described in those forums that were very outdated from 3, 4, 5 years ago that were no longer working. So the fact that there was a lot of people commenting, asking about it, gave me the confidence that, okay, maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah. So you got that idea, which, yes, from a digital marketing standpoint, definitely local SEO, absolutely having good Google reviews is a huge help. And then getting them in, so it kind of adds more social proof or builds up the reputation of this brand. And that's the whole purpose of it, which I totally agree with. I think that's great. So you're working a job, you're working in digital marketing, and you're building the SaaS on the side. What point did you realize like it's time to leave the day job and actually do it full time?
I left my previous job to focus on it. It started in 2017 as
Mhm.
a side project. 3 years into it, right around beginning of 2020, is when um, I reached a point where the business was thriving. We had hundreds, I believe, few thousand, just over 1,000 paying customers at that point, and he was paying me more working at part time than my full time job was back
Mhm.
then. So I made the decision to leave my job at the time and focus on reviews on my website. The best decision I've made, no regrets, absolutely. With the reviews on my website, I decided to try something different from day one, given all my years of projects that went kind of nowhere. Instead of building it myself, I decided to find a developer
Mhm.
on Upwork to help me build the software, the prototype, which in a way forced me to focus on the marketing side and the sales, the things that I generally wouldn't want to be doing, right? And not only that, it also, now that I'm paying somebody to build it, it's not just my time anymore.
Mhm.
I felt that much more committed to see it through and give it the best chance of success. Now, I think it took us 3, maybe 4 weeks to launch the first MVP version. And within the first week, I believe we got our first two paying customers, which
That's
was
exciting.
thrilling.
Yeah.
And all I did was literally go back to those forums and blog posts and just comment like, hey, there's a software that makes it happen for free. We used to have a free plan back then. After doing it for long enough, people started signing up, using it, placing the widgets onto their website. And yeah, it's been pretty much only uphill since then.
How did you come up with the pricing for so you got a freemium?
I think it was somewhat looking what other software, since I didn't have direct comparables for the same industry, I just looked what some other software were pricing their platforms at. At the time, I didn't even feel like I could charge a lot for this kind of service because in my mind, it's just like set it and forget it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And the reason I wanted the free plan is because my thinking was, which turned to be pretty accurate, it would just allow us to get a lot more users at the beginning. And
Mhm.
if nothing else, we'll be able to gather a lot of feedback from them.
True. Yeah.
Whether they
Yeah,
convert
absolutely.
into customers or not, we would have usage data, we'll look at statistics, what features are being used the most, things like that. Yeah, so that was kind of, I think back at that time it was zero free plan, $5 a month, and 15 for agencies, which would
Mhm.
have like multiple clients or websites.
So it's a yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people will do that when they come up with pricing, they'll try and look around to see what makes the most sense, but it's still you have to kind of test it to see if it's actually gonna work, and you don't wanna necessarily be the cheapest option either,
Definitely.
because then people may have a different thought around, like, if it's cheapest, does that mean it's just not as good? How did you come up with, or did you ever because you know how they always talk about, you've got to niche down into a specific industry, no matter what it is you're doing. And I started a SaaS up about 10 years ago now. It was right in the travel industry. Actually, Expedia has something similar to it now,
Mhm.
but it was geared to the travel industry. Did you come up with an idea where you decided you were going to go after a specific industry or a specific type of a business?
I'm totally 100% agree with you in terms of picking an industry, a specific niche, and just doubling down on that.
Mhm.
Now, with reviews on my website, especially at the beginning, first few years, it was primarily everyone who signs up, right? We're just starting out, trying to learn, gather as much feedback and information. I'd say there's a couple industries that primarily use our services. Those are home service businesses,
Mhm.
plumbing companies, electricians. Another industry would be healthcare, chiropractors, massage therapists, dentists is a
Mhm.
big one. And then the third one would be professional services, law firms, accountants. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's pretty much whoever has a Google profile with reviews or wants to have more reviews to help them differentiate themselves from the competitors. Technically, it could be our client. We kind of narrowed down on was local businesses and specifically either owner operated or smaller teams, 5 to 10.
Mhm.
Usually, again, we have clients with way more than that, but I'd say that's the target
Mhm.
for us versus some of our competitors who go after more mid-size and enterprise clients. We kind of like stay away from them, and it's been it's been very rewarding. In my position as a founder, I get to talk a lot with our existing customers that have been using our software for months, years, and hearing them how the software has helped them generate more reviews and in turn more customers. It's one of the most rewarding, humbling experiences that I've got to share as a founder. And it's just like such a motivator for me and for the team to just continue building. And just because we're making a difference, I think if it was more like a bigger company, like hundreds, thousands of stuff, I don't know if I would have gotten that satisfaction of seeing like we're truly making a difference.
Yeah. Well, that's absolutely key. I totally agree with you because that's what really drives most founders. It's not the money when you're focused on that end user and helping them, you're just going to grow because of that. And people are going to sense that passion in you anyway. It seems like you hired somebody from Upwork, got even that. I have horror stories of trying to hire people from Upwork. It's like, nope, I have to fire them right away or try again. Though in my software business, I had a really great team. They were based in Poland, really great people to work with, and super helpful. So that was great. My problem was in marketing it, and it sounds like what you did was you offered it, which I did as well too. I started off free just to kind of get a taste and get some testimonials, but my problem wound up being trying to monetize it from basically from there. And so it sounds like you just went and picked a price and that was a smarter way to do it. I was coming up with like licensing agreements and I think it was getting into too much into the weeds and too difficult. But how did you go about marketing it so that you could grow it as quickly as you did?
I think one of the things that helped us early on was from the nature of the service, the widget is on the free plan. All our widgets would include a powered by reviews on my website link. So if the user places the widget on their website and they're on the free plan, they would have that little backlink. And at the end of the day, the more users did that, even though they're free, the more exposure we got. And I think that at the end of the day, that's what helped us spread the word and gain some of the early traction. Some of the competitors or visitors visit their website, they see this widget, they're like, oh, that's cool. I want something like that for myself. They follow the link and they end up on our website. And then obviously on the paid plans, we would remove the link, kind of like one of the incentives for them to upgrade. But I think not only did the powered by link helped us with SEO and building authority in the early days with Google, but also bringing more referral traffic just by people
Yeah.
seeing and clicking on it. Later on, and even to this day, there's a lot of businesses who refer us, friends who own businesses who still have a lot of organic traffic coming from all the effort in the early days,
Mhm.
writing content to having those backlinks. Down the road, we decided to discontinue the free plan just because it wasn't really serving us anymore as much. And at some point, it's just, I guess a lot of it for us was testing,
Mhm.
talking to customers and testing what works, what doesn't. There's been a lot of, as smooth as the journey might seem, there's been a lot of challenges along the way from, like you said, hiring somebody reliable.
Mhm.
There's a designer or a developer. Luckily, I've had quite a bit of experience in hiring from my work in the digital firm at the time. So that definitely helped me kind of vet some of the candidates in a better way. But there's been definitely bumps along the road for sure.
Okay. So you are that's good to know that you're human because it does happen and
100%.
you have to and that's one of the things that once we understand like these are the typical challenges and hiring generally is the number one challenge. What happens is you hire somebody, you maybe interview them, they start working with you and maybe they just like they don't show up or they don't finish the job. So what was your maybe a biggest challenge when it came to hiring somebody?
I think the biggest challenge would have been finding somebody reliable
Mhm.
who you would trust. I'll give you an example. Designers. I think in the last 5 years, I've worked with at least a handful of different designers, and it changes like some people, life situations. So when it comes to hiring a developer with design, you can at least see the visual, whether you like it or not. When it comes to development, it's quite a bit more challenging to gauge if the code or whatever it is that's been developed, it might work on the surface, but you don't know under the hood how good quality and reliable the code is.
Mhm.
And I'm a firm believer you get what you pay for. That's something I have prioritized from day one. Development is not an area I ever wanted to skim
Mhm.
on. And I always wanted for it to be done in a way that's sustainable long term. And that's been a challenge because when you hire a developer, um, they might build what you ask them for. But the question is this something that's going to break within the next few months once we decide to make some tweaks or add more stuff? Or is it built in a way that it's going to be able to grow and improve from
Yeah,
there?
right, and that's important. Obviously,
Mhm.
you have certain features or things built in, and you're right, whether what's the ability to scale it and get it grow it bigger. You don't wanna add too many features, you don't want it to break, and you also have to consider the user experience and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to do and just, like, kinda keep it simple.
Absolutely.
Why don't you let's see a quick demo so we can get an understanding of, what is the software and maybe some of the features that people really like about it.
Absolutely. I will share my screen with you here.
Awesome.
All right. So this is the dashboard, example dashboard for a business once they connect some of their reviews from other platforms. So in this case, this is a test account.
Mhm.
We have Google reviews and Facebook reviews connected to the platform. We support just over 40 different review platforms at the moment. So if you have reviews on any of those sites, Yelp, TripAdvisor, depending on the industry you're in, we have sites for lawyers, for dealers, travel agencies, and so on. They can simply connect it here. Once the reviews are connected, they're all displayed on the reviews page. From here, we'll give the business the ability to respond to those reviews with the help of AI. With a simple click of a button, we'll generate a suggested response. And from here, they can click respond. It'll be published directly to Google, thus saving them a lot of time, making it more streamlined.
That's brilliant because there are a lot of businesses that don't have, like, somebody dedicated to answering, and I've always told my clients, if somebody whether it's a good interview a good review or a bad one, you gotta respond, and something more than just thanks, but I think that's so helpful, just just even putting AI into it to get some response to it, so that's awesome.
100%. And I'm glad you brought up the fact that responding to reviews, not only positive or negative and positive, is important. Just because it shows the person you care, you took the time to read it, and that's also something that Google wants businesses to do because it increases engagement and gives a very green sign for potential future customers to see how you interact with your existing customers.
Yeah,
Next, under widgets, that's kind of how we started. Let's see here. Here's an example of some of our widgets. Those widgets are fully customizable. You can change the layout, how many reviews are displayed. For example, we can select a theme here, change background, stars, pretty much anything you want. Once you're happy with the look, you can click add to website. Simply copy and paste this code onto your website where you want the widget to show up, and that's it. Anytime you receive a new review on Google or any of the other platforms that's been connected, our system will automatically import it and it will be displayed through the widget without needing to manually update anything.
that's awesome.
Our system will check for new reviews on a daily basis. So if there's a new review written today, first thing by tomorrow within the next couple hours, it will be imported into here and automatically displayed through the widget on the website.
That's great. Do you Do you have any kind of a service, some kind of a help to get the business owner to increase their reviews to their website?
After we started with the widgets, few years later, it was very clear that a lot of businesses need a way to help them get more reviews. And once they have some reviews, they'll have more reviews to display. And a lot of businesses struggle with asking for reviews. Sometimes it feels intimidating or they just forget, right?
Mhm.
So our software helps automate that process. The way this works, a business owner, once they finished interacting with a customer, they can simply add them into the platform, clicking request review here, enter their name, email, and phone number, and then our system will add them to a campaign. Now, the campaign is fully customizable, consists of multiple requests. So, for example, this one, it would send an SMS message as soon as the customer is added with a link to leave them a review. Now, if they click the link, they'll be taken to Google or whatever other platform the business wants to collect reviews on. If for whatever reason the customer is busy, doesn't have time, or just simply forgets, we will send them automatic follow-up email or text a few days later, reminding them to leave the review. Again, fully customizable. The business can change their logo, some of the text, and once they click Rate Us Now, I will show you quickly what it looks like. Now, this is a preview of the page they would generally end
Okay.
up on. From here, the consumer, the customer can either click to leave a review, or sometimes they're presented with an option to leave custom feedback. This feedback will be sent directly to the business owner, giving the opportunity to reach out to the customer and either fix the situation or try to change the sentiment if they're not happy about something, to offer them something to make them happy.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. How many times have you had one of your customers say, "Somebody submitted a bad review, how do I get rid of it?"
Happens all the time.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
think that you have a direct line to Google and that you can just tell them, "Hey, just get rid of that negative review."
Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, that's not quite how that works. We have to explain to them. And honestly, um, usually if it's the first time the business gets a negative review, a lot of the time they panic and think it's the end of the world. Um, what we do is we explain to them that while um, it's not the end of the world, right? And there are things the business can do. First of all is just responding to it. There's no need to be defensive, right? That's one of the worst things the business could probably do in that situation. But responding and handling it in a way that will give other potential customers in the future, they'll be able to look at this response and be like, okay, the business actually cares. They took some steps to rectify the situation and fix it, and it builds more trust.
Mhm.
And another example I'll give you, we usually tell them the best thing you can do is just get more 5-star positive reviews. And at the end of the day, that will push the negative review down, right? And the thing we tell them is imagine a scenario when you have a business with hundreds of reviews, perfect 5-star rating, right? A lot of the times it looks a little suspicious. It
Yeah.
raises a question: how does this business doesn't have a single negative review, right? Versus a business with a 4.8, 4.6, 7 rating, which seems way more trustworthy.
Yes.
So sometimes it is better to have not perfect 5-star rating score, because it is sometimes questionable. How is it even possible, you know?
Well, and I think it depends. Well, yes. If you have 5 reviews and they're all 5-star, you could say, "Okay, maybe," but because it's only 5 different business, maybe 5 customers. But you're right. If it's 900, like, somebody is gonna feel not 5 stars about you necessarily.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. It was really nice of being able to see the software from the back end. So final question, what what 1 or 2 resources would you recommend every business either invest in or have? And it could be anything. It could be a subscription to somebody's Substack. It could be some software. It could be a mastermind group. What would you recommend that you've used and pretty much can't run your business without?
I think some sort of project organization software. Personally, I've been using one for the last year,
Hmm.
and honestly, it's been the night of difference. Previously, I would just have multiple platforms, one for Upwork person, one for um, another developer. It was, and another one I would mention is probably AI.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
becoming
been
everybody's friend now.
noticing relying more and more on AI for all sorts of tasks. For example, note taking up. Every time we meet with the customer or do an onboarding call, I just turn it on.
Hmm.
And instead of me being distracted during the meeting taking notes, everything is recorded so that I can just look at the summary afterwards without needing to get distracted during the
Yeah.
meeting.
Which software for the project management? What's the name of that software?
I use Asana.
Asana. Okay, very popular one. And then what's your AI note taking?
For note taking, it's called Granola.
Oh, okay. Oh, I have not heard of that one.
Granola, yeah, it's a free software. They have a paid version, but the free has been more than enough. It just runs in the background, so you don't even know it's on during a
Right.
meeting.
That's good.
And you can, there's a mobile app, so you could use it for like in-person meetings or phone calls, things like that. And yeah, it's free. So
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vitaly. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best place for them to reach out to you?
feel free to add me on LinkedIn. I try to monitor it and can respond there. Otherwise, our website is reviewsonmywebsite.com. Can
That's
book a demo. Would love to show you more of our software and how that works if that's something you're interested in. Otherwise, yeah, hope this was helpful.
It was. It was really helpful. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure that all that is listed in the show notes. But thank you so much, Vitaly. It was really good having you.
Thank you, Janet, for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.